Legion is a couple of weeks from its premiere on FX, but Fox has already ordered an X-Men spin-off pilot. What will this mean for the X-Men universe? Step into the danger room. It's Screen Junkies News. Fox has finally given the okay for the untitled X-Men pilot to go into production. The pilot will focus on non-mutant parents who discover their children have mutant powers and force them to go on the run from a hostile government. Along the way, the family joins up with an underground network of mutants who must fight to survive. Matt Nix from Burn Notice is set to write and executive produce along with Bryan Singer. With me to discuss the project is Joe Starr, Daniel Radford, and Jay Washington. All right, guys, so here's what we know. We know that this has Sunglasses and Smiles, Matt Nix from Burn Notice, Lauren Schuler-Donner and Bryan Singer are involved, as is Simon Kinberg. Simon Kinberg, who's involved in everything. And we know that this is going to be a Fox situation. So far, they're only talking about a pilot. That's only one show. What do we think? Joe?
I mean, Jeff Loeb's in there, so Marvel TV is on board, which is sort of interesting because that's, I guess, the TV version of the Sony Marvel Spider-Man deal would be Jeff Loeb working on this Fox pilot, unless he works on all of them and I'm just not aware. But you know, a pilot's a pilot, and they've thrown some into the ether before that were not so great, so we'll see.
Oh, what's the whistle? What's the whistle, Jay?
Thank you, Daniel Radford, for reminding me of the worst thing I've ever seen as a kid.
You mean the best thing that you've ever seen anywhere.
Generation X came out in '96. It was Fox's attempt at an X-Men series before. And they had an hour, 20-minute pilot. And it is the worst thing you can watch for 120-something hours.
First of all, Daniel Radford has something to say about that. I believe Charlie Feldman, who's off camera, would have something to say about that.
It was brutal.
Daniel.
Oh, it was so... I've talked before how much I love movies that are bad. And oh boy, so much. Every moment they could have gotten something wrong, they did.
Oh,
it was so
it's bad good.
Fun. Oh,
Yeah,
no, it's bad good.
It's bad good.
But it's really fun. You can probably find it on YouTube or something.
Oh, you can definitely find it on YouTube.
I highly doubt they're worried about like saving it, so you don't have to worry it's going to get pulled down anytime soon.
Look,
but it was so much fun, and that was another one where it was based on the Generation X comic book, and had actually quite a bit of it that was the same. So it's interesting now to see that they're doing things. Legion is obviously based on like a pretty famous arc. I assume it's going to be kind of like the Breaking Bad of Marvel, like watching him get evil.
Loses. I don't know. From the Legion trailer, I have no idea what that show's about. It just looks neat. Generation X, that was the first time. It's a nice arc because now that I am a professional person that doesn't like things on the internet, that is the first time I remember a fandom failing me, or like a thing failing me, because I love that comic. Scott Lobdell, Chris Bogolo, amazing creative team on the Generation X comic, and I remember that was '96. I just started high school then, and I remember watching that and just quietly realizing that things can be bad. And that
So maybe if it weren't for Generation X, you wouldn't even be here.
Nope.
You wouldn't even be here.
Thank you, Generation X, for bringing us all together.
No, you can thank the comic book. Do not thank that series. There's certain... We've seen, basically, this shows you that over history, Fox has not had a solid run with X-Men products. You talk about the movies.
Wait. You can't say that just flat out. The movies, there are usually 2 good films in every one of the franchises.
And the third one goes all the way down.
But they have done some good stuff, and Legion, FX is putting a ton of money into it. It looks really fascinating.
Legion is probably going to be the exception. Everybody's hyped behind Legion. Everybody's hyped behind it. But this one kind of still, Bryan Singer's involved in that one too with Legion. But having Bryan Singer at the helm of this one again is like...
Well, he's not at the helm. It's Matt Nix who's at the helm.
I mean, but just
I think Bryan Singer is like the
know.
money behind it. I don't think he's actually as involved.
So, sorry. The sort of interesting thing to me, sort of, I guess, talking about... what's the plot maybe going to be, or what's the feel? They're all saying alternate universe, and I think the one thing we can all agree on with the X-Men franchise as a whole on either side screen is there's no real cohesion behind it. So this can either be anchored to the franchise somehow, or it can feel real un-X-Men-y, because Legion from the trailer looks like X-Men, or they could go Mutant X, which was that, you guys remember Mutant
Ooh,
X,
yes,
that
I
weird,
do.
terrible X-Men series
wanna
that
do
like
that?
didn't even have the word mutant in it
at all.
So there's a, there's
So
a.
good.
There's a lot of room for a miss here.
Well, but here's the thing. I mean, if I just heard the name, like if you didn't tell me this was an X-Men property, and if you just told me the log line, this to me sounds like Midnight Special, basically, which was a film that I loved and I think makes perfect sense for a TV series. I don't know that I need everything to tie in, like everything in the Berlanti universe sort of tends to tie into each other. I don't need the films to become part of a
Sure.
TV series.
I
What
think-
would you rather see, though?
Well, less than a tie-in. I just want something to feel like X-Men. And I remember wanting Generation X to feel like X-Men, and it didn't. I remember wanting Mutant X to feel like X-Men, and it didn't. And this description, family joins up with an underground network. It has the word mutant in it. But that necessarily doesn't scream X-Men to me. X-Men to me is the school and the really poorly done civil rights metaphor, and that kind of thing. That's X-Men to me. This could be anything, and they just fit mutants into it.
Where would you want this set? Would you want the set in the 60s? Would you want the set present day? What do you want?
I mean, you sure present day is fine. Just put it in a school and make it about some kids learning about their powers and maybe trying to kiss each other's faces and save the planet. That's
Just a rogue story.
Yeah.
with somebody.
I'm okay with the idea of it being more of like the world of the X-Men and not necessarily like X-Men focused. Almost, and not, obviously not quite, because I know a lot of people don't like Fear the Walking Dead, but almost that kind of thing where like there is a whole world outside of
Sure.
the X. So just watching someone kind of like, watching this family dealing with, being mutants, but not having to, find other kids to kiss faces with or deal with which Professor X they're going to be dealing with at any given time.
That's true.
It might be kind of nice to have something that fleshes this world out a little bit more. So that could be that for me. I'm looking forward to that just as much as I would if it was just a bunch of teens trying to figure out who to bring to the mutant dance.
So what you're saying is Jubilee might actually be named, like called by name in this one to like flesh that part of the story out a little
They
bit
never
more?
get her in. I just think like when you said earlier about the Berlanti verse, I get it. Yeah, we don't want like 4 or 5 shows that all intertwine together, but you want a show, and like Joe said, that actually lets you know this is the X-Men. This is what this is. We want something that, hey, this lives up to everybody's childhood and expectations. Again, you got movies that fell off. X-Men Age of Apocalypse, everybody wanted to shoot themselves in the face with spoons.
I don't know what that means, but I agree with it.
You should.
And I totally agree. The world outside of the mansion can still feel like X-Men. As long as they embrace, and really just lean into it. Sure, this can be a show about some D-listers helping out some kids and their some parents and their kids. As long as it it has the feel. As long as in the background I can imagine playing, like I'm good.
Also, what if it literally is an underground network and we get to get up on some Morlocks?
That's what I was thinking when you heard underground.
Interesting.
It's the first person you think of.
Yeah, like that would be kind of cool if we could see, they go down there and we can kind of maybe get the origins of like, we're afraid to be ugly or whatever. And so they all have to go down underground and maybe that's...
I like that you heard underground and thought literally physically underground. Like I just thought it was like on the run.
I'm a very literal
They're-
person.
Yeah,
She
they
is.
just they gotta go.
That's what I thought, because that's the only a group of underground mutants that you know of in the series, really, that stand out the most are the Morlocks. They were profound in the cartoon series. They were a big part of it. So to have them being brought over into this, again, it's just a pilot. We're asking for a lot, but something to set the wheels in motion if you're going to go to a full series.
Well, we want to know what you guys think. Do you want to see something that's like Generation X again? Do you want to see Legion? Are you excited? What sort of universe do you want? You can comment below. You can always tweet us at SJ News. You can click here for more Screen Junkies. Thanks for being with us.